very brief toast. First of all, welcome to Peter Lynch, one of Canada's most distinguished filmmakers.
Now wet.
Everybody's going to go around and say a quick word, but I would like us to acknowledge that we have an extraordinary person amongst us, Meenakshi Shedde, who's brought us all.
We all have champagne in our
And
hands.
we're going to ask her to say a few words, but first, India's Consul General.
As it's happening, and as I said, thankfully we have been trying for it for last 2 years, and thankfully it is happening before I leave the station. So this is one of those things in diplomacy that, like, you start something, somebody else enjoys it. So one of the things which happen, you start it and you enjoy the thing. That's the best thing. And as you know, it's 150 years of Satyajit Ray and 75 years of India's independence. So it couldn't come at a more timely manner. And thank you, Meenakshi, for organizing this. And thank you, TIFF. I don't see anybody from there, but I'll definitely thank Cameron and Jennifer is doing it. Yeah. So for this wonderful. So thank you so much for inviting us and putting together this lovely evening with these wonderful people. Thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure to be back in Toronto. I think it's the 4th time I'm back that I've been curating something for TIFF Cinematheque. And it's very special I can be here thanks to Judy Gladstone, who's been a wonderful host and also this spectacular party. Just so honored to meet all of you. And thank you for all of you to make the time to come here. I know all of you are leading many busy, multiple lives. So it's of course a huge honor to do a Ray retrospective. It's kind of in my head a kind of crowning glory of my career in curating because it's a rare chance to do that. And wonderful, I really feel it's a kind of homecoming for me to come back to Toronto, and I think the high point for me was to have so many youngsters come and see the films, and it's just unbelievable. First of all, the response is so good, but to see people who are 16 and 20 coming to see Ray films in black and white, and it's just a joy. And we have a whole lot of elevator addabaji after because nobody wants to go home. They're all chit-chatting after, and as I was just saying in Hindi, like, hum picture batate gaye aur karma banta gaya, kind of. We kept showing the movies and the caravan kept growing. It's kind of spontaneously just, people just hanging around chatting and not wanting to go home, and that's, I think, the greatest gift of all, because that's something you can't buy, and it's just people connecting with the films. Of course, it's partly because TIFF is encouraging free memberships for youngsters, still that they relate to somebody who's making films in black and white. Also very big privilege because it's an organization like TIFF, for me, it's also a huge privilege because they have the taste and the money to pay and respect 35mm prints, which is impossible to see in India. We don't have the means to see it, we don't have projection machines, we don't have cinemas, the prints are lying in some can somewhere. So to just actually see films on 35, which are restored beautifully, a few of our films actually from the Academy Film Archive. So I'm very, very grateful to TIFF for respecting these things, but also for creating the resources to bring these to audiences in Toronto. So thank you very much, and to Judy.
The films that Meenakshi has curated so carefully, because it's not just Ray, it's also Contemporaries and Ray, the making of one of Ray's classic films, etc. The cinemas are full. And I thought when I drove it down for the first screening, because it launched, she had just arrived that morning from India. So, and then she worked on her, because she very carefully prepared her words of introduction. So she worked, and she prepared, and she got dressed, and I thought, should I tell her to expect 10 people, 12 if you count me and her? And I thought, I'll just let it flow. Whatever will happen, will happen. And as Cameron Bailey introduced her, the cinema was half full. 4 minutes later, another 100 people had arrived and taken their seats. And you could see at that point, she was speaking. And you could see Cameron was standing to the side, and his head was like a tennis match. You're watching him come in, they're coming in. And it was the most astonishing thing. So the time she finished speaking, the cinema was full, and it was Lightbox 3. Right? So it's not insignificant, and it's been like that throughout, so it's quite extraordinary. Like, she doesn't want to hear about Ray and box office, it doesn't interest her in artistry, but we all know this. I think this is so important because the Lightbox is paying attention, programmers are paying attention, and now they're noticing that there's this thirst for Indian cinema. right? That in the middle of August, one day it rained, one day it's hot. It doesn't matter. People are coming anyways. Afternoon screening, evening screening, weekend, weekday. They're showing up. So I think it's a very good sign going forward. You can leave your predecessor a little note to speak to Shane and say there's a thirst for these films. You know, at Cannes, the best doc this year was an Indian film. So the talent, of course, is extraordinary, as you know that. Quickly, if everybody could just say a few words. So Peter,
please. Someone that invents music and has so much control, and there's always an image. My parents are from the UK. I grew up in Toronto, in Thorncliffe Park, one of the most multicultural centers of the planet. And what was striking for me was always this image of Satyajit Ray sitting in this office with his feet up, with all his books and messy. And that always inspired. That's an image that always inspired me. This is what a filmmaker should do.
Oh, lovely! That's so lovely, right? Yeah. And then his piano in the corner is nice. Doesn't work.
He's been here about a year now from France.
Yeah.
And he's worked in cinema in his career, but the crossover into the educational side is this fascinating national institution that they have in France.
Well, first of all, I'm extremely happy to be here, to reconnect with Meenakshi after so many years. And obviously thanks to Judy that we met actually less than a week, and here we are to talk about a project. And so I'm sure we will carry on with the project. As for Satyajit Ray, well, you know, as a lover of India, I saw a few of his films, and the one I really love was the Salon de Musique.
Yeah. John Sagar.
Voilà, which is really one of the most beautiful films I saw. The one he did in Tagore, extremely. So here we are.
My name is Asma Mahmood. I'm the artistic director for CCAI, and we put together festivals and the artistic events. One of our new projects is where we take Canadian talent to South Asian locations for either lecture series or exhibitions. And this is the first time I'm meeting Meenakshi in such detail, because I think exactly 10 years ago I saw her in passing, and she was gracious even then. And I'm so glad that she's one of those people who look at cinema as a place where people come together and join in and come up with new ideas. I think there is not a single person who doesn't want to do a Satyajit Ray retrospective. She pulled it off. We've been talking about it for ages for the festival, film festival, but I'm so glad that this opportunity came up. You took it, and thank you to Indian High Commission and Council General and Purvaji for making it happen for all of us.
Thank you.
Proud. But next time, come for a longer time.
Hi everyone, my name is Arshad Khan. I'm a filmmaker based in Montreal and Toronto, and I'm really very happy to meet you all, and really happy to finally meet Meenakshi. I also am the director of the Mosaic International South Asian Film Festival, MISAF. It's a festival of new South Asian cinema that takes place in November now. So yeah, I'm very happy to see you all. Thanks.
And you all are invited to the red carpet opening night of MISAF. See that?
Absolutely.
You didn't put it in their mouth.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got some more guests. Come on in.
We can break the circle. Build a circle.
Hi, I'm Tasvit.
I'm Sally.
Nice to meet you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, get that.
Okay, everybody take six, make yourself comfortable. Sit.
Meenakshi, it's so nice to meet you, and it's so nice to meet legends like you. I'm so happy to be here today.
Meenakshi's a legend.
No,
It's a lot lovely rose and lovely wine today. I'm having
Anita's been in Toronto, Canada.
I just moved last month here.
Yeah, wow.
Welcome. Yeah, it's really nice. People here are very warm and welcoming. It's so nice to be here today.
I'm Lalita Krishna. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I know it's so lovely to be here to meet so many wonderful people. When I got the invitation from Meenakshi and she told me it's in Judy's house, it was like, this is like the, I don't know, amalgamation of different worlds that I've been part of in various roles that I've played. So I've had the privilege of working in Toronto for a while now, making documentaries, which I consider to be a true privilege because you get to tell people's stories, and through that I've had opportunities to meet a lot of you, and it's just been a great journey. So thank you, Judy, for hosting us. Thank you, Meenakshi, for the wonderful curation and giving us a reason to be here.
Absolutely.
And this opportunity to meet up with everyone.
My name is Sally Lee, and I'm currently with the Canadian Independent Screen Fund, which is an independent fund for Black and racialized creators, of which Lalita recruited me to work there, and she is one of my board co-chairs. And Anita is the one who introduced me to Lalita, and I'm here as Anita's guest actually. So before the fund, I guess film-wise, I used to work at the Toronto Real Asian International Film Festival, and from there I went on to TIFF, and I've worked at Soul Theatre Company and a number of other arts organizations around the city. But my true love is independent media arts, so I'm glad to be back.
I'm Anita Lee. I was at the National Film Board of Canada as producer and executive producer for over 15 years, but just recently, just this past April, in fact, I just joined TIFF as the Chief Programming Officer. I say CPO, and everybody seems to think it has something to do with Star Wars. It feels like I'm always explaining the role a little bit. Yeah, for me as well, because Meenakshi, of course, curated the program for TIFF. I was actually hoping to meet up with her and Cameron at the end of last week. I had a family function and could not. And then when I received this invite saying it was at Judy Gladstone's, of course, I went to say, oh, Judy's. And so came tonight, and yes, so very happy to be here.
I'm Geeta Sondhi, and so many reasons I'm so happy to be here, connecting with people that I've known for many years. And Satyajit Ray was actually one of the reasons I even got into film, because Cinémathèque Québécoise back in the day used to play his films and Ozu's films and Mizoguchi, and I just remember, I have to tell you, I did not really connect with Bollywood. I come from Kenya, I didn't, get it. But these films, I really felt the emotions and that emotional landscape that he drew in a way that just impacted me so deeply. So there's that, and then of course I ended up at TIFF in '92, and I've been at the film board too, and making docs with everyone. And I was telling Meenakshi that I heard her interview on Q, and in particular just how you spoke about Devi was so just beautifully done, and she speaks, if you have a chance, do listen to that interview. It's really wonderful, and really bringing it into the present day, like situating it contextually where it came from, and then bringing your second interpretation, watching it again in the present day, and something that I think will resonate with so many people, and probably why so many young people also come to listen. So thank you for your work.
I'm Shane Smith. I'm the Artistic Director of the Hot Dogs Festival in Cinema, and I'm thrilled to be here to finally meet Meenakshi, even though we were working at TIFF when she did her first program there, Indian Expressionism, I believe, with Noah Cowan reeling you in the first time. So it's wonderful to finally get to meet you and to spend some time with you. We were thrilled because of Lalita to focus on Anand Padwadhan. A documentary, Indian documentary filmmaker at our festival this year. So Indian connections are wide and deep. Speaking of connections, it's Judy who brings people together. She's one of those people integral to the Toronto film scene who manages to find ways to connect people from across divides. And we love you, Judy. We need you.
Yay, Judy. Cheers to Judy.
You can introduce yourself.
I am Tasveer.
Where are you from?
I am from Eritrea and I live here now. And I am work carpenter.
Or whatever other job anybody has to offer. Okay. Because currently perhaps in between jobs. So audiovisual. He actually has a hit song, which we can play for you shortly. We will play for you shortly. Never mind, can't play for you shortly. And he arrived here as a refugee, but because Canada's awesome, he received a permanent resident status as soon as he arrived at Pearson Airport. And he's been my roommate for 11 months now. I'm very lucky. So he hasn't been here yet. And that is Tasveer, look at that smile. And if you see me out and about with him, I'll be introducing him as my nephew.
Oh.
This is...
Hi, I'm Ella, Judy's daughter.
Sweet's cousin.
Sister now.
No,
Not my
cousin. No,
okay.
no. Keeping certain boundaries there.
And so lovely to be here with Meenakshi and all of you, and somebody who doesn't work in the film industry. It feels sometimes like celebrations of film and community can be hard to find, so it's lovely to be here celebrating both of all of you.
I'm Deanna Wong. I'm the Executive Director of the Toronto Relation International Film Festival, and thank you so much, Judy, for having me here. Actually, I had dinner plans with Anita and Sally beforehand. Didn't know that we were all coming to the same place, and our restaurant was in Koreatown. Perfect. And I, as for me, I'm from Winnipeg originally, and when I moved here, Cinematheque, I was there all the time, and introduced to Satyajit Ray's films there. So it's very meaningful to me also to be here. So thank you.
Delighted to have you. And this is Jane.
I'm Jane Perdue. Hi. So nice to meet. There's a lot of people here that I've just met, so I'm very pleased to do that. I'm a neighbor. I live a few blocks away. I'm actually an urban planner. I was with the City of Toronto for 30 years running the Centre for Public Art program. Now I do consulting. I've just been in Winnipeg, and I am from Winnipeg. I did listen to your radio interview. I told you this earlier. I enjoyed it so much. It's so animated. But also I learned that Deanne Durbin relates to. Yes. So everyone from Winnipeg, we're good people. Yeah. She wrote back. But I just want to say, I mean, Judy knows, and others here too. I've been going to the film festival since I was at university. So I've been going to TIFF for 40 plus years, and I've been supporting Hot Dogs for many, many years. And so I feel very comfortable here. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's lovely to meet you.
I just also wanted to add that it's it's very, very hard to program films, especially from India, because the film institutions are going through a lot of turmoil. A lot of them are being merged with NFDC. So I felt a little bit awkward asking them for, can I have this print of Satyajit Ray, when those guys are not sure whether they have a job tomorrow or whether they ever get their pension. It just felt so tacky, focusing on a re-retro, because there's really major turmoil. And I really would like to thank Apurva Srivastava for a major role. She did really a lot to pull this whole thing off and support us. And because without government support, so this whole thing is really Apurva's doing and her office, and they did a lot to make this whole thing possible. So thank you very much again, Apurva. Very grateful to you and to our Indian government and the ministry. Thank you. A few words about this.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Tazeen and I just moved to Toronto in February. I'm from Bangladesh. I used to teach in Bangladesh film studies. And yeah, I ran into Meenakshi. TIFF has been sort of my home since I've been here. I used to study here a long time back. So, back then I didn't get a chance to buy a membership. So kind of it's a privilege, gift to myself, and I go there often. That's how I ran into Meenakshi. And Judy, and thank you so much for having me here today.
Bangladeshi films are
everybody. Cheers to everybody.
I'm Tushar Unadkat. I run a small advertising agency called Mukta Advertising, but I have a full-time corporate job. I'm the Director of Communications for Canada's largest healthcare group of companies. I work with more than 30 films with some of the amazing Oscar-winning producers, directors. I'm passionate about cinema. I just finished a documentary last week. But first and foremost, some of the South Asians who are here, we must remember a dear friend from Mumbai, Rashmi Lamba, who connected all of us with Meenakshi. That's how I know Meenakshi.
A special
recognition to Rashmi Lamba.
Yes.
I've known Rashmi for over a decade, and she's such a dynamic, talented, passionate artist and curator, and she's fantastic. So she introduced me to Meenakshi. Thanks
also
to Rashmi.
Judy.
To Judy, all of us, right? That a lot of us are here because of Rashmi Lamba. So let's recognize her. Rashmi, we miss you. Mrs. from Toronto. We got this amazing video which is going to be on my YouTube channel, and you all have to subscribe to that. Meenakshi, I haven't seen, unfortunately, your curated part, because I've seen a lot of Satyajit Ray's films, and I have my own festival coming up on this 27th, Diversity Festival at the Nathan Phillips Square. If all you want to come, there's a lot of food, 140 artists from multidisciplinary cultures, and it's going to be a fun day out on Saturday. Come and enjoy. But other than that, please make sure that we all get to connect this evening while we are here. Amazing talent, what a vibrancy, what energy. Judy, where's Judy?
She's left.
I haven't met her home available. She makes sure all the drinks and food is here when she leaves. Okay, the party continues, but we must all make sure that we connect with each other. That's so important. That's all about networking and exchanging and the talent vibration. Lalita. So Lalita is one director here who likes to direct everybody in the floor. Unfortunately, she doesn't get to direct more films, but she directs parties. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you. So you considered it and you went, okay, no. And I was like, oh no.
Where did you come from?
Do it again.
All right. And what's the